Good afternoon, Bermuda. It is clear, I believe to all of us, that we must create a climate of accountability and responsibility in order for this island to work better for its people. It is also clear that we must identify those challenges we face in order to meet them. Meet them head on. Only by doing these things can we hope to create opportunities for all Bermudians. We cannot continue to go on and cast the blame somewhere else. Bermuda, it is up to us to face the realities of where we are and how we move through these times and put Bermuda back on a pathway of security, on a pathway where an economic climate is being prosperous for all Bermudians. The OBA is currently moving through what we believe to be a new day for Bermuda. And I have asked our Shadow Finance Minister, Bob Richards, and his team, our spokesman, Sylvan Richards here, the Richards brothers, if you will, to continue to look at the challenges Bermuda is having with our economic growth, with our debt, and to chart a new way forward for this country that will get us to where we need to be. Number one, we must be our brother's keeper. We must be fiscally prudent about how we handle the affairs of this country. And with the debt where it is today, we are challenged in 2012 to find a way that will lead to prosperity for this country. Gone are the days where we can cast blame on someone else. We must head this head on. If weeds are growing in our garden, it is only because we have allowed those weeds to grow. We now need to take the responsibility and to pull out those weeds so that we can get on with the growth that this country needs. And that's why our team, that I believe to be second to none for this country, will chart a way forward. And for the next coming weeks, you will see more things being put out from our economic team that will show Bermuda that the OBA, the One Bermuda Alliance, wants to put us back on a pathway of prosperity, on a pathway where all can enjoy the fruits of our labor. And so with that in mind, I'll turn to our spokesman, Sylvan Richards, who will continue the conversation from here. Thank you, Bermuda.
Thank you, Peter. Good afternoon. The graphic beside me illustrates the cost of our soaring debt. As you can see, debt levels have grown over 700% since 2005. The debt this government is accumulating each year will have to be paid off by our children and their children, which is an abdication and a betrayal of trust. What a sad legacy to leave our kids. This past March, this government raised the debt ceiling to $1.5 billion, and we are quickly approaching that ceiling, with debt in 2012 projected to exceed $1.3 billion. This debt situation illustrates a major difference between this current government and the One Bermuda Alliance when it comes to management of the public's money. You know, it's a generally accepted principle that a person should not live beyond his or her means. The OBA believes that this standard should also apply to good governance. The One Bermuda Alliance will be committed stewards of Bermuda's assets and resources. Government has a responsibility to live within its means and must be held accountable when it doesn't. This government has been living well beyond its means, and working Bermudians and their children will pay the price for this government's excesses. Government's interest payments to pay off the current debt amounts to $230,000 a day, or $85 million per year. These payments take away government's ability to fund other areas that need attention, such as public services, support for teachers, maintenance of buses and ferries, and the ability to keep our communities safe and secure. This government is relying more and more on borrowed money to pay its day-to-day bills, which is unacceptable and this government has no commitment to pay this debt down. They are only kicking the can further down the road to generations not yet born. This soaring government debt is something every Bermudian must consider when voting day comes around. At the end of the day, we must ask ourselves two very important questions. First, is this soaring debt in the best interest of Bermuda? And secondly, is this government doing what's best for our children? You know, there's a reason why charities, Sunshine League, and others are struggling right now. I'm a mentor with YouthNet, and YouthNet is down something like 200 volunteers. There's a reason for that. Funding is critical. We lost the Sunshine League entirely, and it's because this government has no money. So ordinary people, those most vulnerable, the young, the youth, the children who need our support can't get it because this government has been irresponsible with the public's purse. And the One Bermuda Alliance, our mandate is to be fiscally responsible, and we will get Bermuda back on track. Thank you.
With that in mind, guys, we're here. Any questions?
So what's your plan?
Well, first thing we need to do is, if we're going to have a budget, then we need to stick to that budget. This government has shown time and time again that its budgetary numbers are not realistic. There's constantly cost overruns that if they go back to the House for more monies, appropriations, and whatnot. So we have to be fiscally responsible. I work in international business, and we draw up budgets, quarterly budgets, semi-annual budgets, and annual budgets. And we have to stick to those budgets. And at the end of the month, at the end of the 6 months, at the end of the year, we have to be on budget or some heads are going to roll. So we're going to bring that same approach to government. You have to have a budget, and you have to stick to that budget. It's the only way we're going to get out of this mess. If you're going to turn things around, the first thing you need to do is stop digging. And this government is constantly digging and digging a hole that not us, but our children, and perhaps our children's children, will have to pay off. I think that's a shame. We didn't need to be in this situation, and the One Bermuda Alliance is going to turn it around.
When are you rolling out Kenneth Bascom?
I don't think that this is the forum for that. We're here talking about that. There has been no rollout of any candidates concerning the OBA here lately. We have chosen all of our candidates, and we will choose the time that we release them. So it would be inappropriate to be speaking on anyone's behalf concerning that.
Do you have your candidates?
I just said that we have.
Do you have all of them?
We have all of our candidates chosen. And I'll repeat it once again. We have been in a position whereby we have always had more than enough people trying to, looking to stand as candidates in the 36 constituencies that we have. I'm not sure where the understanding of, well, you know, maybe we haven't rolled out our last 6 candidates and so we're struggling. I'm not sure where that kind of stuff comes from, that spin to me. We have always said from the very beginning, we are standing strong. I believe that the polls are showing that, and I believe that the island is speaking very clear that it now has an opposition who's willing and ready to take over government. The next 6 candidates will be rolled out at our time, understanding this, that they are the OBA's candidates, and we will roll them out when necessary.
You appear to be making this announcement in light of what's happened in the Cayman Islands. Would you be behind the creation of an outside board to supervise how we're spending public funds?
I don't think that this is necessarily in response to what's going on in the Cayman Islands. I have been very, very clear in the paper today where we stand as far as that is concerned. You know, this is about fiscal prudence. This is about Bermuda. This is not about the Cayman Islands. And it is important that we understand that we must face our challenges head on. I do not believe that we have a government who has been clear and transparent about financially where we are. And so this is about now setting a pace forward and a pathway forward to let everyone know, not just the media, but for Bermuda to know what it is that the OBA is going to do. So the timing of the Cayman Islands certainly has nothing to do with this.
Mr. Richards, I just need to. just add to that?
Okay, sorry.
I'll entertain your question
No, no.
in a moment. I don't want Bermudians to think, as it relates to the Cayman Islands, I don't want Bermudians to think that our situation cannot be solved. We in the OBA are confident that the mess that this government has put us in is a solvable mess. We have the solutions for these problems. You don't have to go to the United Kingdom. You don't have to refer to any other country. These problems, as I've said many times, most of these problems are made in Bermuda, and the solutions can be found in Bermuda, and we have those solutions. Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Richard, there seems to be, back to the question about the Cayman, there seems to be a contradiction between what you said a few months ago about Britain's contingent liability for its colonies and what Mr. Cannonier said in today's paper, that nobody's going to build us out but ourselves, basically, is what he said. Am I correct? Is that a contradiction? Do you both have a different understanding?
There's a difference between the use of the word contingent and a guarantee. I think His Excellency the governor said that UK does not guarantee Bermuda's debt, and I think that is correct. UK government has never guaranteed Bermuda's debt. So in that respect, but there is a kind of we are still a dependent territory, and I think from reputational grounds and all those other things, that the United Kingdom has an interest in what we do, and therefore, I think the word contingency could be used in that respect, as opposed to in a strict business context where a contingent liability means that you're guaranteeing somebody. Charles.
Mr. Richards, in paragraph 7, you said government interest payments, the current debt.
This Mr. Richards.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
taller
yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Richards.
Yes.
The younger Mr. Richards.
Yeah, the younger Mr. Richards. Yeah.
But you say the current debt now amounts to $230,000.
Yes.
Are you suggesting that between now and say December, this will increase?
Oh yeah, definitely. This is a figure based off of the current debt. The debt isn't going down. The debt is going to increase. So we can safely assume that that payment, that interest payment, is going to increase also.
With government spending staying as it is, will they have to borrow yet again to get through next year?
I believe so. And that's the succinct answer. I think unless we grow the revenue base in this country, then the government's going to have no choice but to borrow. The only way we're going to get out of this situation is twofold. You have to cut back on your spending, but you have to grow the revenue base. That's the only way out.